Hello everybody. Once again, before I start today's video, I really honestly and truly wish to thank everybody for their support. Needless to say, the last day or so since my last video had been hectic. I've been inundated with email, DMs and even WhatsApps from supporters, subscribers, friends and family who are concerned about me, my safety and reputation. As is, I'm behind on replying to email, and whereas I prefer to thank those who make donations via email, I just have not been able to get to everything, as there are a few things happening in my personal life as well. So I want to make it absolutely clear that although I have not gotten around to sending each of you a thank you note, does not mean that I do not appreciate you, your efforts, or your gifts. I honestly and truly do. Truthfully, it is 100% due to your generosity, loyalty, and support that I am able to do what I'm doing. Having said that, I extend the same appreciation to everyone who click on my videos, everyone who subscribes, like, and comment. Your generosity of spirit and your patience and loyalty are much appreciated. Okay, so let's spend a moment talking about the last video. I received email from a variety of people, those who liked the video, those who saw merit in it, those who hated and criticized it, those who think I was brave to do it, and those who thought I was plain stupid to stick my neck out like that. I received compliments, criticism, letters from medical professionals and legal people in the legal professions. So, here are a few things talked about in those letters, documentation, and even linked articles, etc. When it comes to surrogacy, there are two basic recognized methods of IVF: full IVF and partial IVF. Full IVF means that both the intended parents' gametes are used, and the surrogate is considered a gestational surrogate. In other words, she carries the child on behalf of the couple and has no biological links to the child. Then there is partial IVF, where either the biological father's sperm is used along with donor eggs, or the mother's eggs are used with donor sperm. Now, here is where we get to the differences between countries and even individual clinics. We should remember that the process is relatively new in terms of legislation, rules, and laws. And although most or all countries adhere to certain guidelines, there are rather big differences in legislation. For example, in the United States, a surrogate may be paid for services. In most other countries, surrogates may not receive payment, but are only allowed to have their costs covered. But that is of little consequence when it comes to what we have to talk about. In some countries and/or clinics, partial IVF is not allowed or preferred, but even in those countries, guidelines are changing to allow for the use of partial IVF when it comes to same-sex couples and couples where one of the partners has a true and real medical issue. Yet these, let's call it prejudice for a lack of a better term, is thus also the reason why some couples would go to a different country for treatment and for services. Now, I do not have the time to research each and every country's rules, legislation, or guidelines, but what is interesting is that regardless of whichever country's guidelines we are talking about, each and every clinic will also have their own based on the owner or management's own religious or moral persuasions. What most reputable clinics do have in common is that those accepting foreign clients will carry and display international medical approvals and accreditations, as well as approval and accreditations from individual countries' medical boards or legislation bodies. Some clinics will only serve and accept couples who are lawfully married or have a legal partnership. Others will also accept single prospective patients or clients, again, depending on the legislation or guidelines of the country they are situated in, or depending on the religious and moral persuasion of their management. What is also notable is that in certain countries, and very often the case of many clinics, where a donor egg is used, it will not be allowed for the surrogate's egg to be used, but instead the egg of another selected donor, so that the surrogate will still have no biological link to the child. This is, however, not the case in all countries and all clinics around the world. Some clinics will have an application and screening process for donors and surrogates, and some clinics will allow the parents to provide their own surrogate, often a family member or close friend. And then obviously that will come along with certain guidelines. Mostly it will be preferred or asked that the surrogate or donor is under the age of 35, for example. Having said this, all surrogates will be screened medically and psychologically by reputable clinics. Some clinics will insist on handling the medical checkups as from 28 weeks onwards, and even the birth process. Others will only handle the IVF process and allow parties to return home to their country's or own obstetrician gynecologist. What I am trying to tell you with all of this is that regardless of various opinions and well-meant advice, in the world we are living in, there is somewhere and something for everyone, particularly if you have the financial means to pursue it. And then I'm not even touching on any of the not so reputable clinics, because for the purposes of this video, we do not even need to go there. With regards to certain things said by another YouTuber, drawing matters I have not even talked about before, or maybe only speculated on along with everyone else, I have the following to say. Yes, I have dissected photographs of the wife while she was pregnant, along with everyone else. But I also made it clear in one of my last videos that I no longer wish to spend time on analyzing and having every second photograph analyzed and tested. We saw what we saw, and we are each entitled to our opinion. And we can still like and support each other, even if and when we disagree. What I do want to concentrate on are the things that we, you have concrete proof of. And those things I mentioned in a previous video, but I will repeat it. When or where or who gave birth to Archie? Was he indeed born at the Portland Hospital? If so, how? As Dr. Law was not in attendance as stated in multiple newspapers and in Finding Freedom. There was also not a midwife signed in at 5:26 a.m. on the 6th of May 2019. Nobody on duty saw Harry or his wife or even obvious security loitering around at that time on that date at that hospital. So, if he was born at the Portland, then when? Because it was obviously not at 5:26 on the 6th of May. Maybe he was born on another day, or at another time? If so, then the couple lied. Was he born elsewhere? Possibly. But if so, then the couple lied again. Did Harry's wife birth the child herself? I do not think so, but that is my opinion based on my observations obtained through research, other people's opinions, other people's expertise, and other people's first-hand experiences. But does that mean that I am 100% sure? No, of course not. But if I was to gauge my opinion, I would say I am 96 to 98% convinced she did not birth the child herself. Then there is the matter of the unsigned birth announcement, the changes to the birth certificate. Why? The discrepancies with the christening. Why would the Archbishop not explain? Did he take a quick trip on a magic carpet, plane, or helicopter to attend the ceremony? Or did someone else conduct it? Or did it not happen at all? Why the lie? Why the secrecy? When the answers are relatively simple. The point of all of this is, until those questions are answered, we can each believe what we want to. I can believe that they used a surrogate. You can believe that they adopted. Someone else can believe that the child does not even exist. We can all believe what we want, as long as the royal family and Harry and his wife are practically giving us the freedom to do so with their silence and secrecy. As far as the information I shared with you in the last video, let me run through it again with you. I received the information via telephone conversation on the 7th of March. The information was based on a variety and number of situations, and to date, I have not shared all the information I got. Then I received an email from a second person who at the time also explained how he or she came to have the information, and some of it was based on personal interaction with other parties, and some of it was based on opinion. And then, lastly, I received the screenshot of the Twitter post sent to me by a personal friend. I was also able to find out who the person was who made the post and why. And only then did I feel it safe enough to put it all together and talk about it, particularly because some of the information was now already in the public domain. Is any of this proof that Harry and his wife used a surrogate? No. What I am convinced of is that my two sources told the truth of what they saw and heard, and I'm even prepared to vouch for my first source. It is what he or she saw and heard, and related it to me truthfully. And neither them nor me should be abused for telling that truth. Is the truth we have proof of anything? No, it is just the truth about what is happening currently and what people are talking about among themselves. Anyway, in short, my two sources never claimed that what they told me was proof that Archie was born of a surrogate. What they told me was what people in their immediate surrounds were talking about. Anyway, I know I do not owe anybody an explanation as to how I come to get certain information, but because I feel a kinship and responsibility towards most of my subscribers, and do try my darnest to stay away from imaginative and frivolous gossip, I feel I need to explain something to you. Staff at the palaces often have an NDA clause in their contracts, but these NDAs do not state that they cannot talk to close family. royal reporters have a certain agreement with the royal family, be it unwritten or written, but this does not prevent them from giving their opinions. Family, extended family, and close friends of the royal family know not to discuss royal family matters in public, but this does not exclude them from talking to their spouses, their extended families, or close friends. And often, that is how news and stories are spread. None of it meant to be malicious, and without anyone breaking any rules or agreements. And like I said in the beginning of this video, I received many emails, DMs, and WhatsApps, but not only from people who were concerned about my well-being, but also from people anxious about the well-being of the royal family, their reputation and safety. In one of these communications, it was made clear to me that the reason for the surrogacy had nothing to do with race. Instead, there were other issues. The couple started fertility treatment months before the wedding, but when results proved that the chances of a pregnancy early in the marriage was slim, remember, the couple had to consider Harry's wife's age. They decided on IVF and surrogacy. In this communication, it was made very clear to me that it is the opinion of this person that the royal family was not told or consulted before Harry and his wife made the decision or took the steps to make it reality, but that the royal family was told at some point during the pregnancy, and that it is the opinion of the person that it was done shortly before the split from Kensington Palace, and that the surrogacy was the main reason for the split, as Harry and his wife needed the privacy of their own offices to keep their secret successfully. From someone else who was equally upset by my video, I was told that the first time anyone outside of the immediate family saw a live baby was a month after his reported birth. At the time, it was remarked how big he was, at which Harry's wife replied that he took after her father's side of the family, who were all big babies. Another person was rather desperate to clear up for me that there is a real Archie and that he does exist and is in the custody of the Harkles. According to this person, the Archie we saw at Desmond Tutu's, the Archie on the first year video, and the Archie in the last picture where Harry's wife is carrying the child is indeed the real Archie. Other photographs were all Harry's wife's mischief, be it photoshopped, bought, or borrowed. Now, my friends, I chose these three messages because it contained what I personally believe to be true. I believe the Harkles used a surrogate the first time, and I believe they are using a surrogate now for a second child, as the wife is unable to carry a child to term. I believe the child or children have both their DNA. So whatever Harry's wife decides to use as an excuse when cornered with the truth, it will definitely not wash if she uses the race card to cover up her own actions. I am afraid that regardless of whether witnesses being few and far between, there are some. And should the royal family at any point be threatened with more lies, that these witnesses will be prepared to go around the royal family and make the truth known. Then there is something else I want to address very quickly. This is my channel, and I will conduct my channel any way I wish within the guidelines set by YouTube. I have been accused of endorsing certain comments below my videos by me marking it with a heart. This is not always the case. Not every one of my subscribers or viewers agree with my opinions, yet I still appreciate their support and respect their opinions. I do try to pay attention to all the comments, but it is just not possible, especially when the comments start exceeding 100 or more. However, in most cases, I do read all the comments, and by marking it with a heart is just my way of showing that I read it, that I'm paying attention, whatever your opinion may be, and that I appreciate each one watching. I shall also continue to do this, as this is my nature, and I do not intend to change my personality to suit someone else's opinion or narrative. For me, my channel is about people, about you, and about me, and about our interaction with each other. Other YouTubers treat their channels differently. For them, the story and the entertainment or content are more important. We are all different as people and are all entitled to be true to our own characters. Some of us are good actors and some are not. I am not. Okay, my friends, unfortunately, I do not have the time right now to talk about a very interesting article I shared on Instagram. The title is Top Lawyers Explain Everything You Need to Know About Surrogacy and Peerages, and it appeared in Tatler on the 4th of March 2021. You are welcome to go and read it in the meantime. I'll leave a link in the description box below, and when I come back, we'll have a chat about it. So, my friends, while I'm working through the hordes of stuff and dealing with some things here at home, please take care of yourselves until we meet again on the next video. Bye.